this short because the review for the new Nile album, The Underworld Awaits Us All, I think only requires like 60 seconds. Time me. And I'll do it with 4 key points before I segue into why I think, my hand to God, I actually mean this, why I think Nile or bands like them should regularly have spots during high-profile events like the Super Bowl. Yeah, I know something like that's unlikely to happen anytime soon, but if it could, I'll explain why it should. And believe me, it's not the whole, oh, these bands are so talented musically, they deserve to be up there thing. I swear it's got nothing to do with that. It's something else entirely, but I'll get to it. Okay, The Underworld Awaits Us All. 4 major points. 1, I didn't expect to like this as much as I did. 2, reason being is because prior I was only intimately familiar with the first 2 albums, Amongst the Catacombs and Black Seeds of Vengeance, which by contrast are less riff-dense and more death metal grindy than Underworld, but that's not to say this album's in any way, shape, or form death and roll or melodic. 3, if you're like me and kind of stop with Nile around Darkened Shrines, you'll likely notice Underworld's a bit different. And speaking only personally, now I feel like I'm at odds with the possibility that although Amongst and Catacombs are majorly enjoyable albums, I don't know, man, this one's very goddamn good, and for me, it's a new contender for what I like most out of the 3. That's all I'll say. 4, with liking Underworld so much, I went back and listened to Vile Melodic Rites before it, and holy shit is that an amazing album, man. Leading me to conclude that like 6 Feet Under, who Nile's co-headlining with this January and February in the States, I have missed out on a ton of awesome heavy metal that, like I always say, better late than never, right? So ultimately, Nile's new album's awesome, man. I love it. True Gods of the Desert's my favorite song. It probably could have fit well somewhere on Domination, Morbid Angel, to give you an idea. Slightly slower, but I dig slow stuff anyway. So okay, now, please allow me to state my case as to why, after hearing the latest album and moving further back in their discography, I honestly believe Nile, 6 Feet Under, Small, etc., very specifically death, black, and grind bands, would be great fits for the Super Bowl. It's basically this: if events like that are supposed to be about entertainment, then okay, it's easy to see why pop stars get slots. They play friendly sounding music, but in addition to the music itself, their stage presentation during those things is always very visually stimulating and exciting. Friggin' lasers and smoke and all that kind of shit. But let's be honest, and I don't think the following's a biased statement that'll perhaps be obvious to metalheads, but do you really think the music matches up to the stage show? Hell no, man. I'm not saying pop acts shouldn't be there, but for all the floor accoutrement and bombastics and stuff, don't you think the viewing experience could be maximized not by Taylor or Ed Sheeran prancing around and singing? Again, I'm not saying I don't think they're good placements for a family-friendly presentation like that, but in addition to them, for 5 minutes out of the 30, imagine how utterly amazing, like a total pulverizing of the senses, so to speak, if you had a bunch of long-haired psychopaths like Nile just fucking blasting everybody in the face. Let me try to paint this picture even more clearly to convey why. Very specifically, I'm talking about the importance of sporting events in particular and award shows like the Grammys featuring death metal. Very simply put, it's because those are always held in giant venues, either stadiums or arenas with top-notch sound. So imagine being in a packed stadium and hearing that Smashing the Annie song performed live. I mean, would that not be just like a fucking atomic bomb? Seriously, how goddamn exciting would that be? Sure, it's not in any way radio-friendly sounding, but regardless, do you not think spectators would be anywhere else besides the edge of their seat during it? Not to mention it probably being talked about in the press for weeks afterward. Who the hell was that band that played in between Imagine Dragons and Kelly Clarkson? Now, as far as I'm aware, and there may be more instances, so if you know others that I will have failed to mention in a second, please do let me know. But I'm only aware of 2 times in history when a death metal band's played inside a big indoor arena. June of 2001, when Morbid Angel was on the Extreme Steel tour with Pantera and Slayer, and then 20 years later, I keep bringing it up, so it's probably becoming sickening by now hearing me talk about it, but Michelob Ultralight Arena at Mandalay Bay, Psycho Las Vegas, and I saw Obituary play inside. And dude, while I didn't get to see Extreme Steel, I can only guess that that must have been fucking awesome, both seeing and hearing Morbid Angel with the sound provided to him. Or you know what? Hell, maybe it didn't even sound good. Quite possibly it might have sounded like utter shit. But even still, hearing it that loudly, that violent fucking slop, I mean that in a good way, again, how exciting must that have been? And the same went for Obituary. That was a live moment I'll never forget. I've seen Kiss in arenas, Maiden, Priest, all bands that bring wild visuals. But as far as experiencing an all-out assault, left, Obituary was on another level completely. So my original point stands. If one of the major elements for the makings of good live entertainment's a kind of roller coaster of emotions, if you will, highs and lows, would Nile not be an extreme high? Because I'm sorry, man, I just can't seem to drop the opinion that pop acts never completely match the visual presentation with their music. And then, of course, as a result, we often see them having to rely on all kinds of provocative or edgy bullshit to complete the package. Nile, on the other hand, in addition to their music obviously doing all the work, are also perfect because they're already a theme band. I mean, all the cool Egyptian stuff they could use on stage, that's a theme that always works. Hell, I remember the first time I ever went to Vegas. Where else did I stay but the Power Slave Resort and Casino, right there on the Strip? I'm talking about Luxor, of course. And you know what, dude? I'll even back down a little bit. I will acknowledge the possibility that Nile's music may indeed just be a bit too extreme for a mainstream event. But you know who's not? You know who's equally as killer, but maybe just an ounce more commercially accessible? Fucking 6 Feet Under or Obituary. Because, dude, say what you want about a pop song's ability to move people, but no matter how you cut it, a fucking good song's a good song, man. So although it may sound a bit more dangerous, you cannot tell me the same people that bop their heads to I'm Still Standing, Elton John, wouldn't either A, do it also to 420, 6 Feet Under, or Threatening Skies, Obituary, or B, I'm gonna fucking say it, be even more locked into the groove than I'm Still Standing. And of course, remember, we're going beyond just hearing the song itself and talking about seeing it live too. But you know what? I just remembered something that might actually shut this entire argument down. Don't the artists not even actually perform their music during the Super Bowl, like while the cameras are rolling? I thought I've heard that, so good luck trying to get Barnes or Carl Sanders or the Tardy Brothers to agree to lip sync. I don't know who the people are that are responsible for booking the acts for these big commercial events, and frankly, I'm not sure I even want to know them, but I think if I were to sit down with them at a table, I'd try to explain how, like, hey, I know you deranged bastards get off on trying to create controversy. Why not try to shake things up a bit and put an old school or mid-school death metal band in the stadium and watch how long people talk about it afterward? I guess the only drawback to that is that Nile, 6 Feet Under, and Obituary, to name a couple, let their music speak for itself and don't have to rely on things that necessarily pit people against each other. And yeah, God forbid there's nothing included in the performance to divide everybody up with. But yeah, man, so that's where I'm at. I, just like you probably, am witness to the intensity of heavy metal sound, and I'm not gonna try to stretch it and say it's got some fucking magical ability to like heal people universally or some shit, but it's the intensity is one of the big reasons we all stay clung to it, because that's the kind of sound we like. I gotta believe once in a while a normie, as they're apparently called, would get a thrill out of it too. I mean, shit, I'm like that with really soft sounding stuff occasionally, like that vaporwave music, and obviously synthwave's a nice departure every now and then, but hey, what do I know? Okay, my friends, feel free to let me know what you think too. Maybe I'm way off my rocker on this one, but whatever, man. And if you did like this video, cool, maybe you can give it a thumbs up. Or if you just like hearing somebody bullshit about heavy metal, then warpath your ass right into that subscribe button. And we'll see you next time on Concrete Spew, but until then, stay out of your minds, lunatics.